Hi, this is Lauren Russell, and I'm presenting my policy brief on cyberbullying and social media safety in public schools. In today's culture, social media and the widespread use of smartphones dominate communication inside and outside the home. The U.S. Department of Education in 2012 found that 90% of 13 to 17-year-olds reported using some form of social media. Ultimately, our school districts must educate our students in the dangers that current technology presents and define in policy the limitations of social media use in classrooms and on campuses. Anyone can pass information, become a cyberbully, or participate in the harassment of another student in an instant. Students are not socially or emotionally mature enough to understand the implications of their behavior online. The educational atmosphere in public schools has been affected by the abundant use of social media. The availability and connection with instant information to students and teachers can be beneficial, but can also be quite problematic. Districts have technology use policies in place that apply to students and teachers or employees, but these policies frequently fall behind in the constantly changing environment that social media, smartphones, and computers present. Many district technology use plans do not address access or use of social media sites or apps, nor do many districts offer cyber awareness and safety programs in an effort to prepare students to address safety issues that may arise. In the interest of defining what cyberbullying actually is, cyberbullying occurs when someone harasses, torments, threatens, or humiliates someone else through the use of technology. Doesn't matter if that is a text message, social media sites, an email, or an instant message, anything that can be posted on the internet. These behaviors can cause depression, decreased academic performance, feelings of isolation, changes in eating and sleeping habits, lowered self-esteem. They can even cause increased school absences, loss of interest in hobbies and other activities, and use of alcohol or drugs to cope. Often people withdraw, students may even withdraw from friends and family. For these many reasons, public schools have a responsibility to stop cyberbullying and educate staff and students in its many forms. All 50 states have regulations to prevent bullying and cyberbullying, and policies include the U.S. Department of Education's recommended components. However, these policies and laws are simply punitive in nature and do not address the actual bullying behaviors. Laws and consequences are not effective in reducing bullying behaviors and do not reduce the harm. A recent study by the Department of Education found that only 8% of the programming for prevention that is in place in public schools was used with fidelity, and those same programs showed little or no results in preventing cyberbullying through social media. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services in 2015 and in 2019, and John in 2018, all state that laws and consequences are not effective in reducing bullying behaviors and do not reduce the harm. I created 4 policy options in my presentation in my paper. Option 1 is the frequent review and update of state statute and definitions. The Arkansas Legislature and House Education Committee must be required to revisit state bullying statutes on a yearly basis and pass updates as technology and its use changes over time. At one point, cyberbullying was not even mentioned in the bullying policy, nor was technology. Cyberbullying through the use of social media is now included in the bullying policy currently in the state of Arkansas. Definitions will continue to need refinements, additions, deletions, and the letter of the law will need to be changed as times change. Public school administrators would then have to lobby their local legislators to draft a bill addressing the review of state statutes on a scheduled timeline. My second policy option is to increase the penalties for adults. That sounds difficult in the first place, but it is an option. Parents of students charged with cyberbullying could be held responsible and accountable and charged with the same crime, similar to the penalties that Arkansas places on parents of students who are truant. The third policy option is a statewide bullying awareness campaign. Administrators, parent organizers, teachers, and our state's communities would need to persuade the governor and the state legislature to launch a campaign against cyberbullying and combine it with bullying. A task force would need to be formed to design an ad campaign and public service announcements, as well as print media to be used to publicize the need for cyberbullying awareness and the dangers children face on social media and the internet. The fourth policy option would be to elicit the support of local communities to lobby legislators to propose a bill that would add a required state-adopted digital citizenship program to the educational program for all elementary and secondary classrooms. This program would become a standard requirement and be taught each year. My recommendation, after reading through much of the research and literature that's available, is to go ahead and move forward with the cyberbullying awareness campaign. There are many advantages to this. The actual campaign itself would bring awareness to a safety issue that is often overlooked. It's a silent problem that we don't know we have until it's too late. Parents would be more watchful of children's digital behavior at home and at school. A campaign like this would make students less likely to participate in cyberbullying and to report any perpetrators. It would also decrease the incidence of cyberbullying, which would be our ultimate goal anyway. Disadvantages: it would require a governor's approval. It would require funding. We would need a task force that would be able to attack this from all sides. It would take time and effort, plus many volunteers. It could even require that we have a position in the state government that would be the director of such a campaign. And I believe, without looking into it very far, is that it would be pretty costly. I believe that this issue needs to have a combined approach. I think that the education requirements for the students in Arkansas need to be upgraded to include cyberbullying. The advantages there, again, would bring awareness to a student safety issue that's often overlooked. Students would be less likely to participate in cyberbullying and would report perpetrators. And again, the incidence of cyberbullying would be reduced because of simple awareness. The disadvantages, again, we're looking at legislature to support a change and changing the education statute, which is always met with controversy by students and teachers as we go ahead and add something else to their plate. It would be very costly. We would need funding for teacher training and for student materials, and it would require another organization of a group of people to lobby legislators. It would also require the adoption of digital media program, which in itself can be a long process. The last thing, obviously, it would be a slow-moving process to get any of this accomplished. Overall, what I found is that there is not as much information in research, solid-based research on cyberbullying, but there are many studies that people have done on a small scale. It is an issue that does need to be addressed, and I know that our technology courses do address it. I just don't think it's done with enough fidelity to stop some of the issues that we're seeing with young people these days, as far as suicide goes, and seeing students with self-esteem issues and mental health issues, all because they're listening to what their friends are saying about them on social media. Thank you again. And I did not list my references here. They are available in my paper, and if anyone would like them, I would be glad to send them to you. Thanks.